Always cared so much about what other people thought of me. In high school, I would literally lay in bed at night and not be able to fall asleep because I would lay there and just think about all of the ways in which I could have possibly bothered someone or said something that would piss someone off, would make someone think something negatively of me.
And I was a really nice kid, so that's really just messed up. And the reason that I did that, and the reason why anyone would do that, is because I built my self-worth off of what other people thought of me. So if everyone liked me, then I would like me. And if I had a feeling that someone disliked me, then I wouldn't like myself either.
But looking back at this now, I don't think that anyone who knew me actually ever did dislike me. I just think I was so good at making up these stories in my head.
And I didn't know that there was any other way to live. This was just my reality. But it for real did become an obstacle when I started my self-development journey and I started to change my thought patterns and my habits and my beliefs about myself. And I started to connect with what it was that I actually wanted for my life and what I think is like the purpose of my entire existence. Because ironically enough, that was to help people, as many people as possible, to love themselves and to believe in themselves and to follow their dreams and their deepest desires. And I knew that in order for me to do that, I would have to start talking publicly about like things I was vulnerable about and be motivational and basically share my thoughts and beliefs on a place like social media or just to actually reach people and actually help them make this inner shift. But I also knew that if I did that, it would be close to impossible to be liked and accepted and approved by everyone. I knew that the safest option, if I wanted to continue to be the nice girl, was to keep my mouth shut, just not put myself out there. Because social media isn't always the best place to go if you are trying to be liked by everyone. But I also knew that I wouldn't actually be able to help people if I were to just do that. I wouldn't be able to make this impact, this inner desire that I had for my life, if I kept doing what I'd always done. I just wouldn't be able to do this thing that I feel so deeply in my gut that I was put on this earth to do. And yes, that sounds extra, but guys, I'm pretty extra. It sounds kind of messed up, but I was so used to controlling my behavior to the people that I was surrounded by in order for me to control them liking me. It really was close to impossible for me to imagine a world where I could just be my authentic self and not care about how other people would react to me showing up that way. Are we nailing these transitions or are they absolute crap? I don't know yet because I haven't seen the footage. But this adapting my behavior was not something that I was doing consciously. It was definitely like a subconscious trait that I had developed when I was a child. So so that I wouldn't get in trouble and that I would feel loved by the people in my environment. I think that we all developed coping mechanisms when we were children, and mine was just being a pleaser and being a nice girl. But the more into self-development I got and the more I learned, the more this feeling of wanting to share with others really grew. It got really clear to me that if I wanted to be able to make any sort of impact in other people's lives, I had to start opening up and share my doubts and my insecurities, the things I'd gone through, and just maybe some things that I was struggling with, because only when other people did that was I able to get impacted by them.
I'm just realizing I put my sports bra on wrong.
That strategy, that scared me because it was so much easier to play quiet, put up a cool front. I couldn't control how other people were gonna perceive me, and I couldn't control if they were gonna like me if I did that. If I build my self-worth off of other people liking me, then that would be a real issue, wouldn't it? Then that would be a pretty big issue. then we would have an issue. Then I would have an issue. It's so awkward going back to the camera when the people in the reception in there are like, what is this girl doing? This constant battle in between, did I want to be liked by everyone? Or did I want to pursue this inner desire that I just felt in my gut? And when I say liked by everyone, yes, when you put yourself out there on social media, there's going to be obviously a lot more eyes looking at you that are able to judge you. But what I really always cared about was what my family and what my friends from back home and my friends from LA thought of me. That was really what I was worried about, more so than the strangers that could be judging me from what I said. And to give you a little bit of context, I'm from Denmark, and we have this thing called jantelov. It's basically a law. What jantelov is that it describes a set of norms which state that one should never try to be more or try to be different or consider oneself to be more valuable than others.
Denmark's really my favorite country in the whole wide world, and what I know today is that one, I was the one who had decided to live by these norms, and that I was the one who had created this story inside of my head that I could not share advice to others online, because then I would go against what I thought to be true about being a good and accepted and liked human, because that would make me go against the jantelov. I mean, it's quite funny how we can create these complete false stories in our heads as kids. Or maybe I'm on my own on this one. The second misconception of the actual reality was this fear that I had for my friends and family to be judging me for sharing online. What I know today is that that was really just another story I'd built up inside of my head, at least for the people that were closest to me.
But the more into self-development I got, the more this urge of like wanting to share and just not give a about what people thought of me started to rise. And so I thought that the first step I could take was to become a personal trainer and get a certificate, because then I could at least start with the physical aspect of self-development and help people with that. That wasn't good. What happens when you try to get all fancy with it, but we're still gonna give it another shot. We're trying this again. So after I got my personal trainer certificate, 1 month went by, 2 months went by, 6 months went by, 9 months went by, till I finally was like, okay, I haven't shared a single thing, and I've gotten pretty knowledgeable within this specific area of fitness. That fear was still holding me back until I decided no longer. I was so self-absorbed that I was thinking everyone would be thinking of me and thinking, who does she think she is? When the reality is everyone's just busy thinking about themselves, and yes, maybe they'll think of you for a few seconds, but then they'll move on with their life. People got other things to think about. So I was being silly. Another little outfit transition. 3, 2, 1. Oh, she did that like a snap. And I decided to just go for it. I realized when I focused on how can I help someone rather than what are they gonna think of me, first of all, that felt amazing and that just felt so freeing. But also, only by doing that would I be able to actually do this thing that I really deep down wanted to do.
And from the help of Tony Robbins and other self-development books, I knew that the only way for me to build my self-worth would be to do things every single day that would challenge myself and intentionally do the things that I was afraid of.
And I realized that the more I did these things that were challenging to me, the more self-worth I would build, and the more I would value how I thought of myself rather than what others thought of me. And the more I could focus on helping others, because I wouldn't care as much about how they perceive me, and that was a good feeling.
And it really worked. The more I started to develop this self-belief from proving to myself that I was capable of doing these things, the more I started to like myself. And when I liked myself and my intentions were good, I just cared less about what others thought of me. And hate comments maybe bothered me at first, but eventually it gave me thicker skin.
When I'm in this ice bath, I try to just think of how grateful I am for life, because I think it's less painful.
But then life happens, and a family member or friend, someone on the internet would say something that hit home, something that I still hadn't learned to love or accept about myself, and I would start from scratch, back to being insecure about everything and everything I did.
In case you're new to my channel, I'm currently in Tulum, and every day I go sit over there, like literally next door, and do a little bit of work. I usually get my breakfast and my lunch in there, and it's really nice. So we're gonna go there now. But first I'm gonna change because wearing a bikini in there would be kind of weird. But we're actually gonna do something else that's kind of weird, for me at least. Are we tired of the clothes transitions or do we like them? I'm sorry, I didn't even allow you to respond, I just did it. But the other thing that's kind of weird is that fact that I'm wearing a dress, because I always saw myself as someone who wouldn't wear dresses. But really, that's a belief in my mind, right? And so now that I just put on a dress, suddenly I'm someone who wears dresses.
And the reason I'm saying that is because it's kind of the same as me always thinking of myself as the nice girl who wouldn't step outside of the norm, who wouldn't want to pretend like she knew what she was talking about. She would just kind of like play it small. So I just had to step into the dress, step into this belief about myself that I was able and capable of doing that. I just met the owner of this jungle gym, and she started it 6 years ago. She just said she's from the UK, and they had just come here and realized that there wasn't a gym that was like kind of like the style of what Tulum is. And I feel like whether you can relate to me always having wanted to be the nice girl, or someone like her who started her own gym, and she said it took a while till it became something. They started it from scratch, like the fear within that and the fear of what are people gonna think if this failed. We all have our own little fears and struggles, because what are people gonna think of you if you fail? I think that developing love for ourselves and all that we are, and not being fearful of what other people may think of us, it's just a never-ending journey, and there's always gonna be more work to do. I mean, even Oprah says that she's still working on herself. So can I have a burrito?
Un burrito de...
Burrito with chicken?
burrito de pollo sin queso con salsa verde blanca.
Sí, gracias.
I want to give you 5 different tools that have helped me on my journey and still help me today to develop my self-worth during my journey. And I think that the 5th one is the simplest, but also the most important. The first one is journaling, and you can pause the screen right here if you want some of my favorite journaling prompts. The second one is to do one thing per day that you don't feel like doing, that you may feel is challenging, or maybe something that you're afraid of. The third one is a simple meditation, calming the mind and connecting to your truest self. The fourth is just pretending that you're someone who could do that thing that you deep down want. Just stepping into the role, into someone else's body who could actually do that thing. And that actually leads us to today's sponsors.
If I don't think I'm capable or worthy of doing something that I really want, then I can just pretend myself to be that. And this marble massage gun, who is the sponsors of today's video, can help us exactly do that. A massage gun has saved my life so many times because I work out so much. A little thigh massage. It's super important for me to release my muscles, and sometimes I'm not very good at stretching, and then this comes in handy. So I love that it's so tiny because I'm traveling right now. It's easy for me to bring with me everywhere. And just like I put on this dress to remind myself that I can be a dress girl, then you can use your marble massage gun to remind yourself of your Spider-Man quickness and your Captain America strength. Someone just walked by my window when I did that. That's embarrassing. And if you need a little reminder of your superhero strength while you're at the gym, just take a look at your massage gun. And you're reminded that you're a freaking badass. It has 4 professional different massage heads so that whatever you prefer you can use. And it'll last a long time. And it's anti-slip and shock design. Also, with the Arbors membership, you can get between 29 to 43% off right now. And this brand is helping our planet because for every new Arbors membership they get, they're planting a new tree to give Mother Earth a little massage. You can click in the link below to check it out.
The 5th one is simply becoming aware of the stories that you're telling yourself. Pay attention to the words that you use about yourself and what you can and cannot do. Only when you're aware can you decide to actually make a change and free yourself from these limits that you've created in your mind. And you deserve that.
Also, a little side note, guys, I've been drinking too much coffee, but I'm trying to also stay hydrated, so I feel like so sorry. Yeah.
I was scared of showing up and sharing my authentic truths to the world, but realizing that just being and sharing all of me really is my biggest strength, especially when sharing my insecurities and all.
What do you think confidence is?
I think people connect with you for your story, showing authenticity and vulnerability. People show the strength in showing their perfect life and like they have everything figured out, and actually it's the opposite. You connect with people like their side and what they have lived and has left like a mark in their life, and I think that's the really inspiring part of connecting like with people.
I think she said it perfectly. I'm still learning, but I do believe that when we allow ourselves to share our truths and be who we want to be in this world and not what we think other people want for us to be, we simultaneously allow others to do the same. And I want to continue to get better and better and better at doing this. And I hope you want to join me. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I would love to have you join the family. But more importantly, be kind to yourself today and every day.